It's Jo Karen Hudson today. I will be talking with you about Section 12.2. Section 12.2. We'll be talking about adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. First of all, adding and subtracting polynomials. When we want to add or subtract polynomials, we'll eliminate the parenthesis first, combine the like terms, and write the terms in descending order. So let's look at our first example. Example 1. I have two trinomials to add together. So I'm going to eliminate the parenthesis. There is nothing to distribute other than a 1 out in front of both of these, so I can just take off the parenthesis to start off with. 3x squared minus 6x plus 8 plus x squared plus 3x plus 10, and then start the process of adding the like terms. 3x squared plus an understood 1x squared will give me 4x squared. Then I have negative 6x plus 3x, which will give me negative 3x. Then I have positive 8 and positive 10, which would give me positive 18. All right, let's look at example 2. I can take off the parenthesis in the first trinomial. There's only a 1, an understood 1 to distribute, so I can just take these off. 3x squared minus 6x plus 8. But here on the second set of parentheses, I will need to distribute a negative 1. Negative 1 times everything in the parenthesis. Negative 1 times x squared would give us negative 1x squared, or negative x squared. Negative 1 times positive 3x will give us negative 3x. Negative 1 times positive 10 will give us negative 10. Now combining the like terms, 3x squared minus our understood 1x squared will give us 2x squared. Negative 6x and negative 3x will give us negative 9x. Positive 8 and negative 10 will give us negative 2. So I've completed my second example. Example 3, I have three binomials. I want to subtract the first pair and add the last one. So I'm going to just take the parenthesis off this first one. It's like distributing a 1. So I'll have negative 4x cubed plus 9x. Now here the negative in the front is like distributing a negative 1. So when I do negative 1 times x squared, I'll get negative x squared. It will change the sign. Negative 1 times positive 10 is negative 10. And here on this last one, it's a positive. That's like distributing a positive 1. I can just take the parenthesis off. So now I'm going to combine the like terms. I have two terms with cubes in them. Negative 4x cubed and negative 5x cubed will give me negative 9x cubed. I only have one squared term. I'll just go ahead and write it down, negative x squared. Then I have positive 9x and positive 1x, which will give me positive 10x. And then I have my minus 10 left that I will need to put in the answer. I want to review real quick the product rule and the distributive property. When I multiply 3x squared times 2x to the third, I will need to multiply the 3 times 2, and that will give me 6. And when I multiply the x squared times the x cubed, when you multiply like bases, you add the exponents. So I'll have x to the 2 plus 3, which would be x to the 5th. Now let's multiply negative 5 times 4x cubed plus 9. Negative 5 times 4x cubed would be negative 20x cubed, and negative 5 times positive 9 would be negative 45. Multiply and simplify the following polynomials. On this first example, I will need to multiply the negative 4 times the 3y and the negative 4 times the 7 using the distributive property. Negative 4 times 3y will give me negative 12y, and negative 4 times positive 7 will give me negative 28. Okay, let's look at example 2. 8t to the 4th times the trinomial. We'll first multiply the 8t to the 4th times the t to the 1st. That will give me 8t to the 5th. Remember, we have to add the 4 and 1. You have to add the exponents when you multiply like bases. Then we have the 8t to the 4th times the understood negative 1t squared. 8 times negative 1 would be negative 8. And then the t to the 4th times the t squared would be t to the 6th. And then I'm going to multiply 8t to the 4th times 6t to the 3rd. So when I multiply the 8 times 6, I will get plus 48. And when I multiply the t to the 4th times the t to the 3rd, I will get t to the 7th. Remember, I have to add the exponents. Example 3. When we multiply two binomials together, we often use the term FOIL and call the first, the outer, the inner, and the last. It's just a way of describing the actions that we're doing. We're multiplying the first term of each binomial, then the outside term of each binomial, the inside terms, and the last terms. So let's start by multiplying the first terms. The first, 7x times 4x squared. 7 times 4 would be 28. X times x squared would be x cubed. And then I'm going to do the outside terms. 7x times 2x, 7 times 2 would be 14. X times x would be x squared. Remember, we have to add the exponents. Then I'm going to do the inside terms. 4 times 4x squared would be 16x squared. And then I'm going to do the last terms. 4 times 2x would be 8x. Now let's combine the middle terms. 28x cubed, 14x squared, and 16x squared would be 30x squared. And then I'm just going to recopy the 8x. Now I can use the term FOIL on this one. These are two binomials. I'll multiply the first terms. 4x times 3y will give me 12xy. The outside terms, 4x times negative 8 would give me negative 32x. The inside, 5 times 3y would give me 15y. And the last would give me 5 times negative 8 would give me negative 40. So that I will have 12xy minus 32x plus 15y minus 40. I really did not need to recopy that. I was thinking I might have some like terms that I would add together, but I did not. Okay, again, I want to multiply this binomial times the trinomial. I'm going to start off by multiplying the first term times all three of them, and then I'll move over and multiply the second term times all three of them. Starting with the first term, 3t squared times 3t squared would be 9t to the 4th. Remember that I have to add the exponents. The 2 plus 2 gives us 4. Then 3t squared times 3t, the 3 times 3 will give us 9. The t squared times the t to the 1 would give us t to the 3rd. 3t squared times negative 1 would give us negative 3t squared. And now I want to multiply the negative 2 times all three of them. Negative 2 times 3t squared would give us negative 6t squared. Negative 2 times the 3t would give us negative 6t, and negative 2 times the negative 1 would give us plus 2. Now combining the like terms, I'll have 9t to the 4th plus 9t cubed. When I add the negative 3t squared and the negative 6t squared, I'll get negative 9t squared, and then recopy in the negative 6t and the plus 2. Example 6. Now I have a monomial to multiply by two binomials, and I think it would be a good idea to do the binomials first. Multiply the two binomials first. It's a little easier to do it this way, and it's an important concept for college algebra. When you get to multiplying two imaginaries together, it would be complex numbers together. You need to do the two binomials first, so we'll get in that habit. So I have 3y squared, and this is two binomials, so I'm going to FOIL first. Here's the first. Y times 3y would be 3y squared. The outside, y times negative 5 would give us negative 5y. The inside, 2 times 3y would give us 6y. And the last, 2 times negative 5 would give us negative 10. And I can combine these middle terms, and I can either do this now or later, but I'll go ahead and do it first. 3y squared times another 3y squared. Negative 5y and plus 6y gives us plus 1y minus 10. Then we have 3y squared times 3y squared would give us 9y to the 4th. Remember, we have to add the exponents. 3y squared times 1y would give us 3y to the 3rd. 3y squared times negative 10 would give us negative 30y squared. This is Jo Karen Hudson. We've just completed section 12.2. You will need to do the homework on section 12.2 as well as the quiz on section 12.2. Thank you so much and have a great day.